Right, so this is a continuation from the previous video. This is where we turn our shapes that were inspired by our grid into a full-scale model in 3 dimensions. So first thing you want to do is copy the curves. All right, you can press Shift and select. Make sure that you select the right curves and make sure you select your boundary box. And then all you need to do is just copy that into place. All right, so do that with all the boxes. And just to make sure that you don't have any duplicates, remember we type in cell dupe for select duplicates. And you see I just copied this one onto something I already copied, so I'm just going to delete the duplicate. All right, so now what we need to do is scale our model. And I'm going to make this 0.5 inches. Okay. So now I need to scale it. So I know from the prompt that each of these boxes is supposed to be 40 feet. So what I'm going to do is draw a line that is 40 feet long. All right, so now that I have my 40-foot line, I know that this is what I'm supposed to scale my boxes to. So I'm going to copy this group. I'll actually type group to keep it consistent. And then I'm going to scale. So I'm just typing in scale. In the previous assignment, we did a lot of scale 1D. This is just general scale. So it's going to scale it in both directions, X and Y. I picked my start point. I picked the end point, which is going to be the edge of the 5-inch box. And then I scale it up. So if I want to check the dimension of these shapes, all I type in is DIM. Because I'm working in a larger scale, I am going to want to increase the text height. Sorry, I have that picture of me. And so because I know this is a much larger object, I'm just going to make it 60 inches. Maybe that's too much. 40, 20, maybe 25 inches. Okay. And I do want to change these units. So I just clicked on the settings and font, that's fine. Text is fine. Dimensions. This is where I choose the height. Arrows, I like the ticks. Lengths are fine. Units. Right, and all I want to do is change this to model units and feet and inches. Okay, so now I see that it's a 40-foot dimension, and I'm going to do that again. Just double check, DIM. DIM. If you zoom really close, you can see that it's also 40 inches. I don't know why it still is 0.5, but we liked it at 25 inches for the height on these. Okay, so 40 and 40. Now I could delete these dimension lines and move on. So luckily I made it a group, so it's very easy to grab. What I'm going to do now is make a copy and then ungroup it. All right, the next thing I want to do is select my curves. So what I can do is SEL closed curves, and it'll select all the closed curves of my object, in my model, I mean. But then I just need to deselect the boundary curves that I don't actually need. All right, so now just the blue lines are selected. And then I'm going to zoom enter, that's Z for zoom, and then S for selected. Oh, and I'm going to deselect fills because that was not necessary. All right, so now that I have these primary curves selected, I'm going to do extrude curve, just like we did in the previous assignment. And for this step, I'm going to make them solid. Okay, so I just press S for solid, and then I'm going to extrude it 8 feet, just like the project requires. All right, so now this is the top-down plan view. When I was drawing it, though, I was envisioning it like I was looking at an elevation. So what I'm going to do is select this group right here, make a copy, and then rotate it 3D. This way I have it facing upwards. So rotate 3D, um, and I pick my axis, start point, end point, primary angle, and then my angle of rotation. And I know it's going up 90, so I could type 90. And now it's the vertical face. All right, I still think that the vertical face is a little bit more interesting, mainly because that's how I was envisioning it when I was making this model. And I'm going to duplicate that A again. All right, so now that I'm happy with this shape, what I'm going to do is stack these pieces next to each other. So one by one, I'm going to move my blocks. Oh, first, I'm sorry. Make them all groups first, please. All right, so I'm just selecting it and then typing in group. If it's the same command, all you need to do is right click it and it presses enter, so it repeats the command again. So now I'm ready to copy it. All right. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and as you know, our grid started out with 5. The depth ends with 5. All right, so now I have this 40 by 40 cube. If you want to check to make sure that your cube is the right size, you can just pull it aside, type in bounding box, and then you can measure the height of the box. I'm just typing in distance, no dimension line needed, and I see that it is 40 feet in my command bar. So it's 40 feet tall, 40 feet deep, and 40 feet wide. All right, so now I could get rid of that little bounding box and move on. All right, so now that I'm happy with this shape, I'm going to make my 3D views. So I'm going to duplicate it again. And then this time I'm going to copy it over and then rotate 90 degrees. Because again, we're trying to see all the sides. All right, all the front faces. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now I'm going to take this box again. And I am going to rotate them again. 45 though. And this is so that I have that nice axonometric appearance. Okay. So now we see all sides are rolled. All right, so once you have this rotation, then there's just one more step to get our full axonometric view. So taking it back once more, and then this time I'm going to change it to the, not the top view, I'm going to go to the front view. Actually, the right view is better, sorry. So then I'm going to my right view, and I'm going to type in the command shear. All right, so shear is basically allowing us to lean or taper. So it's creating a slant in our massing. So I'm going to pick my start point, which is just a base point, pick a vertical point for my reference point, and then I'm going to type in -45. Remember, we rotated our models 45, now we're shearing it 45. All right, so after we shear it, when we're in plan view, it looks like we're looking at it in 3D. And so this is very dynamic, it's measurable, and you can save this view, but you can also duplicate it again. And then just like we did in the previous project, make 2D. All right, and hidden lines are lovely. We can group output, that's fine. And I'm going to change it by output layers. Okay, so now let me find where they placed it. And now I see my beautiful Make 2D drawings. All right, it would probably be better to not have these vertical lines in your Make 2D. So feel free to just delete that and do this again without those lines. So I'm just going to ungroup these. All right. And then select curve. Select the ones that I don't need. All right, delete those. And now let's try that Make 2D again. All right, much better. Okay. So I think that this is a really fun exercise and it makes a very dynamic view without much effort. So yeah, please give that a try. We'll go over how to present or document these drawings in the next video.